magnificent, actually.
Former South Korean President Chun Doo-hwan has died at the age of 90, his former press aide said on Tuesday. A former military commander, Chun seized power in the coup of 1979 and then ruled the country with an iron fist. He presided over the 1980 Gwangju army massacre of pro-democracy demonstrators. He was later charged with mutiny, treason, and was arrested after refusing to appear at the prosecutor's office and fleeing to his hometown. During his trial in the mid-1990s, he defended the coup as necessary to save the nation from a political crisis and denied sending troops into Gwangju. In what was dubbed the trial of the century by local media, Chun was later found guilty of mutiny, treason, and bribery and sentenced to death. In their verdict, judges said Chun's rise to power came through illegal means which inflicted enormous damage on the people. The ruling was, however, commuted by Seoul's High Court in recognition of Chun's role in the fast-paced economic development of the country and the peaceful transfer of the presidency in 1988. But his story didn't end there, and he made several returns to the spotlight. In 2003, he sparked outrage when he claimed he had assets of just around $245 in cash, 2 dogs, and home appliances, despite owing over $185 million in fines. Last year, he was also found guilty for defaming a late democracy activist and Catholic priest in his 2017 memoirs.
Who brought the shotgun to the party? Who took the shotgun out of the car? Who pointed the shotgun?
Closing arguments began Monday in the trial of 3 white men accused of murdering 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery, who was black, in a Georgia neighborhood last year. Prosecutor Linda Dunikoski said the defendants, Gregory McMichael, his son Travis McMichael, and their neighbor William Roddy Bryan, wrongly assumed the worst about Arbery, who was unarmed.
And they made their decision to attack Ahmaud Arbery in their driveways because he was a black man running down the street.
She noted Arbery, an avid jogger, did not even have his cell phone on him. The younger McMichael, Travis, was the only defendant to take the stand, testifying that he fired his shotgun at close range at Arbery in self-defense in what he said was the most traumatic event of his life.
I don't know anybody who wouldn't be scared or stressed or terrified or anything. I mean, it was horrible.
He said Arbery had grabbed at his gun after a 5-minute chase through the defendant's mostly white neighborhood of Satilla Shores on February 23, 2020. McMichael testified that he and his father thought Arbery might have been behind recent thefts in the neighborhood. In his own closing arguments, one of McMichael's lawyers, Jason Sheffield, pointed to the law enforcement training McMichael got during his 9 years in the U.S. Coast Guard, where he worked as a mechanic.
These teachings were burned within his brain to the point of muscle memory.
The 3 men have pleaded not guilty to charges that include 4 counts of felony murder, aggravated assault, and false imprisonment. For the felony murder charges, the prosecution does not have to show anyone intended to kill Arbery. They only need to prove that the men falsely imprisoned him or assaulted him using the shotgun in their trucks, and that one of those underlying crimes caused Arbery's death.
At 4:39 p.m. on Sunday, November 21st, 2021, a lone subject intentionally drove his maroon SUV through barricades into a crowd of people that was celebrating the Waukesha Christmas Parade. which resulted in killing 5 individuals and injuring 48 additional individuals. I just received information that 2 of the 48 are children and they're in critical condition. We have information that the suspect prior to the incident was involved in a domestic disturbance, which was just minutes prior, and the suspect left that scene just prior to our arrival to that domestic disturbance. When the suspect was driving through into the crowd, one officer did discharge his firearm and fired shots at the suspect to stop the threat, but due to the amount of people, had to stop and fire did not fire any other additional shots. The officer is on administrative leave as part of the department protocol. No one was injured as a result of the officer firing his discharging his firearm. The subject was taken into custody a short distance from the scene, and we are confident he acted alone. The suspect involved in this tragic incident is identified as Darrell E. Brooks, male, 39 years of age, who is a resident of the city of Milwaukee. At this time, the Waukesha Police Department is referring 5 counts of first-degree intentional homicide with additional charges based on the investigation, but those will come in time. I responded to the scene, and what I saw out of chaos and tragedy was heroes. First responders and the community coming together and working together on triaging victims, the fire department working in partnership with the fire department, getting these victims to the hospital. Fire department transported multiple victims. Chief Howard will talk about that. Officers picked up victims and put them in a squad and rushed them to the hospital, and citizens also picked up victims and rushed them to the hospital.
It was just, I guess for lack of better, just carnage, likening it to a war zone.
Waukesha Fire Chief Steve Howard struggled to find the words to describe what he saw after a man rammed his SUV through a Christmas parade in Wisconsin over the weekend, killing 5 people and injuring 48 more, including 2 children in critical condition.
We actually had a squad and barricades up, and he drove right through the barricades and the officers. When the officers tried to engage and stop the threat, he still continued through the crowd.
Waukesha Police Chief Daniel Thompson at a press conference Monday said 39-year-old Darrell Brooks, a Milwaukee resident, had been arrested and will be charged with homicide. Thompson said the incident was not related to terrorism and that police were not pursuing Brooks when he plowed through the parade. But he said Brooks had been involved in a domestic incident shortly before he drove through the crowd. Police got a call reporting that incident, Thompson said, but didn't even get to respond.
Was there initial complaint of a knife being involved? Yes. Do we know if there actually was one there? We don't know, because we didn't even make it there. We ended up immediately responding to the crisis.
Police said the victims who were killed ranged from 52 to 81 years old. The chief said he was on the scene within minutes.
And what I saw out of chaos and tragedy was heroes. First responders and the community coming together and working together on triaging victims, getting these victims to the hospital.
The Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office said Brooks was previously charged with restricting or obstructing an officer, bail jumping, and battery. A $1,000 cash bond was posted earlier this month.